SVB Tried Final Fantasy? What the
I'm going to
frick?
tell you something I've not heard anywhere near enough people talk about. The Final Fantasy XIV community is by far the nicest gaming community I've ever come across.
It is at the start, and then when you actually really get into it a little bit too far, it can get pretty toxic, especially the raiding community.
This is just one of the many things I've learned in the month I spent playing the game. I've done gaming content for several years, and I've been a gamer my entire life. But I've never encountered a game that felt as wholesome a place to be as Final Fantasy XIV.
That is how it feels at the start. Xena Lockhart, base name.
When you hear about Square Enix's franchise MMO, the first thing, and pretty much the only thing I'd heard going in, was the everlasting debate of whether it was better than World of Warcraft.
It's just what you like more. Like, World of Warcraft is a completely different kind of MMO, but it's similar at the same time. Like, has the same combat as WoW, but it's two very different feelings, but the same at the same time.
And honestly,
It's just personal preference.
I was curious too. Every single MMO that releases gets compared to World of Warcraft, and it basically defined the genre, so that's understandable. But
It's
just
the most
comparing
popular
14
MMO,
to
yeah.
WoW is kind of reductive. Yes, it's an MMO, but of the several MMO I've played,
Also, a little bit of lore about SVB. One of my first videos that I saw of him is like how to not tilt, and that unironically changed my life forever. This guy taught me how to not tilt in video games, pretty much saying it's okay.
it's also one of the few to
Goated.
genuinely try
Goated
some
creator.
quite fresh ideas.
This guy's goated.
Sometimes it fails, sometimes it takes a while to get used to, and sometimes it's sheer genius.
Starting
And I
off
find
with
myself
fishing,
fascinated,
that's my
hooked,
goat.
and eager to go back in for more. So I want to tell you about the 28 days I spent playing Final Fantasy XIV
This first
because
month.
it's not just the community that surprised me, and despite going in basically expecting to be disappointed, I think I might just have found a new lifelong addiction instead.
True. Final Fantasy is so good.
I kind of like it. I'm hooked.
Just wait until he gets into endgame if he already isn't there. Which he probably isn't. It looks like he's taking his
The
time.
starting experience in Final Fantasy XIV is painful. Before you even boot
The
up the
start
game,
sucks.
you're confronted with this really old, outdated game client, and it kind of sets the tone for how the onboarding experience feels.
Yeah, that the first boss is logging in, and that's like a good ultimate level fight you have to do outside of the game.
Every part of the beginning is a really strong reminder that you're playing this rusty, creaking old game, and not in the fun way.
But once you get it set up, it's so convenient and it's so good. The World of Warcraft logging in system is just so much better. I really wish they changed it, but it's completely understandable that it's their own game. Like, it's Japanese versus NA. Like, games are so different.
To speak a little on my experience with MMOs, I've played a fair few. I started with WoW, like most people probably, back when I was like 11.
Yeah, same.
I have this vivid memory of not being able to convince
World
my
of
parents
Warcraft was
to buy
my
me a
first MMO,
subscription,
I think.
And so I would download the
It was
free
either
trial
Neverwinter
over and over
or-
again, and being
or
a dumb
WoW.
kid, I literally just did the same exact thing over and over. I would
Type
make
shit.
a Night Elf Warrior, get to level 10,
Yep.
and start PvPing until my week's
Oh, I
trial
didn't
would
do that.
eventually run out, and then repeat once more. So it might be nostalgia
For
clouding
me,
my judgment.
what I did in WoW is start a new character, get to the max level, which was like 20 or 30 or something like that, and then restart a new character, keep going up. And I didn't even like the process of it personally.
But whenever I see the starting areas in World of Warcraft, it doesn't feel like, man, look at this outdated old thing. I think, wow, look how cool and retro this looks, back when games used to have this kind of feel to them. With other MMOs, you often get really fun introductions to the game world, only to drift off as the story and levels progress, and the game becomes about raids and dungeons. But with 14, it's sort of the
I
opposite.
want my
The
corner
beginning
back.
is painful, and it gets better as you go. The opening cutscene and most cutscenes in the game aren't even voice acted, and the text has this frankly stupid attempt at representing an accent, which
True. Because everyone, like, at the start speaks in European, pretty much, or pirate. Like, where he is right now, these are pirates. So you have to speak, like, in pirate, and the text box pretty much kind of replicates it, but yeah.
adds no charm and only makes it 10 times harder to read, to the point where you think, screw it, I'm just skipping all of this.
True. The best way to start out your Final Fantasy is only this is my one tip. My one tip as someone who spent like 3,000 hours in the game, skip the cutscenes that are not voice acted. Because most of them are not even that good unless they're like raid. The raid storylines are actually not that bad. Personally, in my opinion, they're not that bad. Even though they're not always voice acted. I recommend like watching the cutscenes, reading them. I always recommend that at least. But like the main story, you can skip all of it pretty much. Or you can just skip the ones that are not voice acted.
I know it's an old game,
That's my
but
tip.
you'd think they'd make an effort to go back and really polish this part of the game. Actually,
They did. Yeah.
A Realm Reborn, as the base game is now called, is already a reworked version of the disaster of the game's original release.
Not just that, over the years post A Realm Reborn, they did like fix A Realm Reborn like quest lines, like to make it go a little bit faster, you know?
But it still feels incredibly clunky, and I don't know if that just reflects how bad the game originally was, or how much more room they have to improve.
Just switch to legacy
If you
controls.
think about it, no
I
matter
could tell
how
that
good
he's
your
not.
end-game content is, only a small percentage of players will ever reach it. But 100% of everyone who boots up Final Fantasy XIV will play this section.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's so appallingly drab is quite surprising,
It's so
honestly.
bad compared to
It doesn't
endgame.
get any better as you start questing.
Like, I would just say, if you want a good experience of the game, I wouldn't say just skip to directly to endgame. I would say probably story skip. So like an extra like a couple dollars, like $20 or something like that. Just to go to like Shadowbringers. Like starting out with Shadowbringers. Like you get introduced to everyone anyways. If you really care about the story, 100% just play from the beginning so you can have a really big attachment towards all the characters in the story. But it's not required because like if you don't care, you don't care. It's fine. I would just recommend just story skipping if you don't care about the story. The
Because
content is what really makes this game shine.
the vast majority of the early quests you get are just talk to this guy, run over here and talk to this guy, and
Realm
run over
Reborn
there
be
and
like
talk to a third guy.
Your
Great,
first like
quest
40
complete.
levels.
Now some people might say, are fetch quests, which most MMOs give you, any better really? And the answer is a resounding yes. It might be generic to just have an NPC tell you to go kill 10 boars, but at least when you do that, you're engaging with the combat mechanisms of the game. And more importantly, you're an active participant.
You usually
as the
do
player
at home,
actually feel like you're
so-
doing something that is an achievement.
I played quite
You
a bit
know,
of
the whole
MMOs, and
point
it's
of
really
MMOs.
based on playing
It
Warrior.
might be a tutorial quest that you can never realistically fail, but still going out and fighting mobs is way better than what 14 has you do. They do eventually give you the kill 10 boars type of quest, but I kid you
sometimes,
not,
yeah.
you're like level 5 before that happens.
Yeah.
And then after doing a couple of those, you're back to the just chat to these 3 insignificant NPCs and listen to them ramble quests. It would be one thing if there was something really compelling happening, if there was some cool story you're being brought into, but that's absolutely not the case.
That's not the case for A Realm Reborn and Heavensward, in my opinion. A lot of people do like Heavensward, but level 60 gameplay, level 50 to 60 gameplay is so slow compared to minimum 70 or 80. Like, I think level 70 is where your job actually kind of activates, for every single job, by the way. But like in level 90 plus is where your job really shines. Like 90 to 100, that's where your job really shines.
It's a
100%.
super generic,
So
oh,
like,
you're a new adventurer in town, are you?
this is why I just recommend just skipping all of this.
On top of that, the quests
If you want
very
a good
quickly
gameplay
start to give
experience.
like nothing XP. I'm very glad that I played all of this on stream because my chat warned me early on.
Yeah, same, I
Only
did it
do
as
the blue
well.
quests and the main story quests. Everything else is worthless.
I wish my chat told me that.
And it's true. Whereas in most MMOs, you expect that the quests you'll pick up around the world will primarily be the things that level you up. But in 14, most of the local quests are completely worthless. Not
But
only
some
are
of
they
them give you like unironically like pretty cool gear for the level that like you would want to complete them at. But when you complete every single like yellow quest, random side quest in an area, most likely you have so much better gear than what they're gonna give you anyways.
often not interesting,
And XP is not worth it.
but the rewards are totally not worth your time. Which means you just don't end up interacting a lot with the areas you're in. It feels
Just
like you're
go
trying
for
to
the-
rush through them
for
rather than
the money.
immerse yourself in them.
Go as a main
Outside
quest,
of the
so
three
yeah.
major
Yeah.
cities, I still don't really know much about what is going on in the smaller areas of Eorzea, Final Fantasy XIV's setting. So yeah, everything from the look to the feel of the early game.
I want to see his reaction to the near raids. I really want him to play the near raids, the near autonomy raids. I so want him to, I want to see his reaction
Gives you
to
the
it.
strong reminder that you're playing a clunky, dated game. Oh god. So much whimsy, so much dancing.
I love that
Damn, this
dance.
scene cannot be skipped. I'm locked in hell. No, stop. What the frick?
I love the emote
The
quests,
hell?
not gonna
This is
lie.
extra jarring because I'm not reading anything, so it's just like I walk around, talk to a lady, and she starts dancing. It honestly had me worried that this would be a miserable experience. People kept telling me, stick with it, I promise it gets better.
It
But
does.
how long can you keep doing that without being sure of the outcome?
With the quick $20, you could skip all this, okay? You're rich enough.
But there is one
I
thing
want to say rich, but you're good enough.
that the game introduced early on that thankfully almost immediately had me hooked, and also began to show me that there was some hidden genius in Final Fantasy XIV. Things that I honestly didn't think could be so well done in an MMO: crafting and gathering.
Crafting and gathering is... They surprisingly made it fun.
For those who aren't familiar with Final Fantasy XIV, there's something really
But it's
interesting that
obviously not
it does
required.
with its class system. In almost every MMO I've ever played, just to list off my previous experience, I'm talking about World of Warcraft, Warhammer Online, Lineage, Guild Wars, Old School
I
RuneScape.
forgot about Lineage. I played Lineage 2 on mobile for a little bit, but I just could not, like, get into it that much. Like, mobile MMOs are not even that good. Guild Wars? I like Guild Wars, personally. I should give it another try one time. I don't really like RuneScape that much, though.
And several other more
I
short-lived
just can't get
ones.
into RuneScape.
And basically all of these, you create a character at the start of the game, choose a class, and then that's it. That is
Put
your
on your
class
buff
for the
there.
entire game, unless you want to make a new character or do some elaborate
King's
respecking. So you're either a warrior or a ranger or a warlock or whatever. In Final Fantasy XIV, you can change your class as easily as you change your weapon. Literally. What weapon you pick in
But-
your main game will decide
You get rid of all your gear as well.
what class you are. I chose the warrior archetype of Marauder initially. So I started with an
Real-based.
axe, but if I equip a staff, I could be a spellcaster, for example. And the same goes for your professions, aka your crafting and gathering classes. Often you're limited in an MMO to only leveling a handful of these skills. But in Final Fantasy XIV, you can learn literally everything all at once if you want to.
And it
boy,
can
did I
get
want to.
very...
At first,
very
I found it weird
overwhelming.
that I could level all my professions at
It
once.
can be.
I was so indoctrinated into the ways of previous MMOs that it felt like it made each profession less special if I could just have all of them. Soon, I realized my one true purpose in this game. Gotta craft them all. First came my love
He's a
for
real
gathering.
crafter. He's a
Again, in most
crafter.
MMOs, gathering
The
is a pretty passive
economy.
activity.
He's gonna
where
have
you
so
walk
much
up to
monies.
an ore node or a tree or whatever and begin the gathering and just sit there AFK. In some cases, literally. You
The
just start
lifeblood of
gathering
this
and leave
game,
for like 10
the
minutes
market
while
board
your
is his
character
home.
farms indefinitely. But 14 does something really interesting. It makes the gathering into a mini game. Basically, your
kinda
baseline
does.
stats affect your general chance of gathering one of several possible resources that each gathering spot has. So a tree could get you a log, but also some fruit or a branch, each of which is needed for crafting different things. And each of these had a different difficulty of acquiring. You get 4 attempts to gather, and you can then use unique abilities to affect how the gathering will go. Some will up the raw chance of getting a successful pull. So you might start with a 70% chance to get what you want, but buff yourself up to 90. And by the way, 90% means you will miss 3 out of 4 hits. That's just how game RNG works. Ah shit,
Get fricked.
should have done the
You
top
obtain
before I
nothing,
did
Omega
this.
Lol. Omega
You're
Lol.
kidding me!
Get fricked.
What?
Get fricked.
All of a sudden, gathering went from being this super
Real.
mindless activity to being a really interesting one. And for all the criticisms I had about the questing becoming
hold on,
passive,
hold on.
gathering was incredibly active. Because it required some thought and planning, getting resources became exciting, like I was being rewarded for playing smart. All of a sudden, I was constantly on the lookout for gathering spots that could yield me new and unfamiliar items to progress my gathering log, and it made exploring the environment so much more fun. This thrill was compounded by the knowledge of what you can do with the items,
Goatskin map.
because you knew you were going to need those raw materials for all the crafting skills you were also leveling up at the same time. And in the same way that gathering has a minigame, so too does crafting.
I have so much gathering stuff in like my retainers and all that like you get so much stuff. It's like, I know I'm going to use it at some point and I don't want to delete them all, because if I delete it, I'll just have to rebuy them on the market board, and then it's just going to be wasting so much money. And like gathering stuff is so expensive on the market board when you don't have millions upon millions of gil to just spend. But like,
Anytime you craft, you can either
picked the right
fail,
path.
make a regular quality item, or a high quality item. To succeed in crafting, you just have to complete your progress bar, which certain actions fill in differing amounts. But if you want to craft a high quality item, you also have to fill your quality bar, which requires a different set of actions to progress. So crafting
And you
is
only
really
have
more of
4
a maths puzzle,
turns.
where you get a limited number of actions to craft your product, and you have to figure out which combination of abilities will get you the best result, mixed in with some RNG mechanics,
Which
to
is
keep it
cool.
fresh
I like
and
it.
different every
I
time.
like it, not gonna lie.
Then there's fishing,
But there
which
is
sucked.
meta
But
stuff.
the
We
mother
love
of all
fishing.
gathering
What do you
comes in
mean?
the form
Oh,
of
this
ocean
quest.
fishing.
Oh, this quest. Oh my gosh. This quest took me forever. I had to look up like a YouTube tutorial for this freaking quest, dude. It was so dumb. And same thing with like a couple other, what's it called? Other fishing quests. The role quest for fishing is dumb.
Form of ocean fishing.
I'm just bad.
A limited
And I
time,
don't read.
unique instance version of fishing that was a ton of fun. Ordinary fishing, while still having a minigame mechanic to it, suffered from the same problem that most fishing does. It's really boring.
I love
It
it.
involves a lot of standing around and waiting for stuff to happen, which is true to the real fishing experience, but hey, I don't want to do that either.
I love
But
it.
ocean
I
fishing
love
is a thrill
fishing.
ride. You fish much faster, your catches level you up super fast, and most importantly, you have the spectral currents, which are these random events that occur when you're ocean fishing sometimes. And when these glowing rainbow colored waves pop up, everything goes absolutely crazy.
Go
The
crazy with
music
it.
gets hype, the quality of catches gets hype, and you undoubtedly get hype. Where's the lucky shit? Give me the lucky shit. Oh, I can. Yo, I have powers. All of this
Stream
had
your
me
luck,
experiencing
stream your
something
luck.
I never thought I would with an MMO. Getting addicted to just really mundane, simple activities. I'm always wary of games that basically just give you a second life to manage, where you end up having to spend so much time and manual labor to progress or get certain things that by the end, you've just signed up for a virtual job. But the trick to any great game is to give you tasks that don't feel like chores. They feel like fun. And that's what I felt with crafting and gathering in Final Fantasy XIV.
Which is really
I look
rare.
forward to hunting for certain resources, and it felt great to craft
Most
better and
players
better
don't
items
like
with
crafting
those
gathering.
minerals I had gathered. There were a lot of times where I could have just bought the resource on the market boards, the game's player-to-player auction house,
But if you just have the profession up enough, you can just go and get it. It's so much better if you just level up everything, so you can just get everything yourself. Like,
I started playing in a way where I would gather everything myself and then make it myself. It was this really holistic and rewarding experience where I truly felt self-sufficient
Yeah.
and like I was genuinely progressing in something valuable. To make things even better, later on in the game, you get to join what's called a Grand Company, which is one of 3 NPC factions based in each of the
he
main
levels
cities.
up his Weaver to 53. By the way, he's level 53 Weaver, and he just joined the Grand Company, it looks like.
When
Are you just
do,
doing Grand
you
Company
get daily
quests?
delivery quests for the Grand Company, meaning they will ask you to craft a specific item for each of your various crafting professions and give you big rewards for trading them in. This was another case of being fully aware that I was being quietly shunted down the path of doing daily quests to incentivize me to log in every day. But
Yeah,
I didn't care.
that's the
It
life.
was fun, and if I logged in every day to spend 2 hours doing all my delivery quests and all the gathering required to do them,
You get so much
then those were
XP.
2 hours happily spent on Final Fantasy XIV. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. And what I didn't realize was that the more I was powering through my crafting, the faster I was heading towards my doom, running headfirst into an inevitable brick wall, one that would tank my enjoyment of the game and take me into the roughest part of my experience playing it,
What's his downfall of this game? What's the one thing that he doesn't like?
the main story.
I knew it. I freaking knew it. OMG. The main story at the start sucks. Everyone knows this, but every single Final Fantasy fan that wants someone to play the game, you have to glaze it to make someone at least try. You have to overhype the story to make someone play it, because this is what everyone's going to experience at some point. If you do not want to spend the extra money on already this $70, $75 a year game. It's crazy. Like, you have to play it, but like sometimes
Final
people just
Fantasy
don't like
14
it,
is a
and it's
game
fine
that
to
has
just
had
skip it.
multiple
Please just
expansions,
skip it if you
which
don't like
means
it.
it's doubled its original level cap from 50 to 100. But when you start, you're obviously playing stuff from just the
But
base
each
game
expansion is
of
10
Realm
levels.
Reborn, which is designed to progress you through its particular story up to level 50.
Mm-hmm.
Now the problem this creates is that there are a whole bunch of new higher level areas that you cannot access unless you are not only level 50, but importantly, have finished the main story quest from the base game.
It's funny that it
As a
did
player,
crafting
I
first.
basically wanted to spend most of my time crafting and gathering. The
Real.
combat is fun enough, but I wasn't really interested in dungeons or story questing with any real urgency. I was doing a little bit of both every day, but I wanted to spend most of my time being a peaceful man of culture.
Based.
The problem is, once you level your crafting to 50, all of a sudden the resources you need to craft new items are
And then you go to the
different,
next, and then
i.e.
you go to
they
the
can
next
only be
expansion,
acquired from
and then
the
the next
new
expansion, yeah.
areas.
Mm-hmm.
So I was stuck in a position where all my crafting and gathering quests and my daily grind company deliveries were all requiring me to get items that you could only get from areas I couldn't go to.
That's
I was
crazy.
literally gatekept from them by NPCs. So all of a sudden, this train of fun that I was on came to an abrupt stop against
Build
a
the
brick
other
wall,
realm,
something
holy.
reminiscent of a Looney Tunes cartoon. It meant that all of a sudden, the game was suddenly forcing me to do one specific thing if I wanted to progress, when usually it was all about choice and freedom and options. So in order to go back to doing what I love, crafting and gathering, I knuckled down to progress.
Oh, he
and finish the
immediately
story,
started.
and boy
Okay.
was it painful. Most of the story quests
He
are super
immediately
lame
started
and
selling stuff on
generic.
the market
I
board.
mean,
W
a lot
chat.
of MMOs have lame stories where you're the chosen hero
Oh, no,
who
this
has
is
some special power
PTSD.
to save the world.
Okay.
But at least they'll
Get that shit
provide
off my
some
screen.
genuine fun along the way. With 14, we were firmly back to clunky, dated game territory. The quests were designed in a way that I genuinely
Those are just
cannot
around
fathom or
Reborn.
explain. So frequently, you'd have quests where you start in X region, then get sent to talk to NPC in Y region.
Trust me, it's not this bad in Endwalker, okay? It's only 1,000 hours away. It's
Who
fine.
sends you back to talk to NPC in X region, who then tells you to go gather something in Z region, and then come back and deliver it to Y. It was infuriating how many times you'd have to make long, painful trips back and forth for literally no reason. I'm talking interact with one NPC and come back kind of stuff.
Wait until he goes into the next expansions, and then you have to gather the aether currents across the entire map without flying, and just so he can unlock the entire map, and then because in a Realm Reborn, all you need to do, I'm pretty sure you get to fly in every single zone as soon as you reach level 50, or unlock the entire map, well, either or. And like, I think did it start in Heavensward, or was it? I think it was Heavensward or Stormblood. You have to collect all these aether currents around the entire map, which I just look up where they are personally. But you can use like the stupid compass that the game gives you, and it's like, oh, the aether current is closer to the southwest region, 800 yalms away, across the freaking map. And then like, it's dumb, and I wish they just changed it that you don't have to go for aether currents. I wish you could just complete the main story, and then you could just fly in every single zone. Let's just do that, please. Like,
Oh my god.
I really hope 8.0 is actually good.
Go to that guy again. Why did they do this? Who thought this was good? Who was like, yeah, let's make him go from that guy all the way over there, back to the person, and then send him back? Why?
Without flying, by the way.
Those NPCs also love rambling. They will go on and on in their dialogue and in the cutscenes, which were again mostly not voice acted, even though this was supposedly the main story quest. And that's actually the good part, because when they were voice acted, it was
so good.
genuinely some of the worst voice acting I've ever experienced in video games.
In A Realm Reborn, it's pretty bad, not gonna lie. But in future expansions, the voice acted cutscenes are actually good, okay?
I'm not exaggerating.
Concerning the kobolds they sent such copious notes on, I presume?
Copious notes on.
Yes. And no. It has more to
That
do
was
with
so
their
slow.
findings, which portend a peril far greater than any beast tribe.
What sort of peril?
Wow, why is this so slow? Why is the voice acting so slow? It's like
Because-
they're voice acting for Dora the Explorer. Can you?
It's because you have to the audio has to play when the text comes up. The dialogue box comes up. So it in the dialogue box itself, it's really slow and it only has like a few words on it, unless they're not voiced cutscenes. The non-voiced cutscenes, you have like 7 paragraphs to read, and then the non-voiced cutscene is like 2 lines, and then you wait 2 seconds for the next text box to come up, and it's like, ah.
You say
Better than
kobold?
kobolds can read.
Kobold! My chat explained to me that apparently they changed the voice acting company they use after A Realm Reborn. So again, it gets better.
It gets
but right
better.
now, it was not good.
True.
This kind of became a theme. If you ask any community member of
You can make this so much worse, and I rather would play this than WoW.
14
First starting experience.
what they like about the game, 9 out of 10 times they will tell you that it's the story. I literally could not go a single
Which is
stream
dumb. It's dumb because this is what like the Final Fantasy community has like ingrained in their brain to like try to make people really fall for the game. People, please play the game. The story is so good because most of those people have either experienced Heavensward, has experienced Shadowbringers, has experienced Endwalker, right? Those are like the 3 good expansions that like overall people really like the story for. So like you have to hype those up. But like as a person who knows nothing about the game and you're just getting thrown into this game as a recommendation, it is so like slow and it's so dreadful, and it's just it's buy story skip.
at
Actually,
least a
please,
few
if you do not care about the story and you want to go for gameplay, just skip it.
new people coming in to say, oh, you're new to the game? Enjoy. A Realm Reborn is really painful, but it gets amazing afterwards, and the
This is what we just have to say. Oh, and now he's in post everyone reborn.
story is spectacular. Now, I appreciate the
Post-AR.
sentiment. I do believe them.
Is he going to complain about the post patches?
But I think expecting a player to go through like 100 hours of content just to get to the good stuff, well, I may as well watch One Piece at that point.
True.
That was a joke, by the way.
This is kind of the video game version of One Piece, not gonna lie.
I love you, Luffy. But there was one bright light, a spark that kept me going through the uphill battle of suffering through the main story. And that was the community. As I
The
mentioned in
community
intro,
is
I
really
was fully
good and very
expecting that,
friendly
like
towards
any
especially
online
new
game I've ever
players.
played, the
People see this sprout and people is like, okay, act nice to them.
community of 14 would be obnoxious, rude, and off-putting. But
Yeah, the sprout icon is kind of like the student driver stickers on people's cars.
could not have been further from the truth. Almost from the very beginning, I found that people were helpful, generous, and would go out of their way
Tank
to help
stance!
a new
Tank
player.
stance! There you go.
See, the game has a way of indicating who genuinely new players are with this sprout symbol next to their name. And while I was worried that that would get me targeted, it was actually the opposite. Literally, the first interaction I had with another player was them giving me money when they saw
Yeah.
I was a new player learning.
Yeah,
to
this is
cook.
what I do. This is what I do
Leveling and
sometimes.
culinary in order to help you. Here's a future tip for future dishes. So they're giving me 600, 1600.
That's
Yo,
nothing.
Free money. Thank
That's
you. to the
nothing.
Nice person just giving me free money.
1600.
That's my first
That is such a low donation. The first time I ever saw a sprout and I wanted to give them money, I gave them like 100K or something like that, and they like freaked out. It's so funny.
interaction with a human player in Final Fantasy, and they just gave me 1600 gil.
Mm-hmm.
A few days later, a truly generous soul just started a random trade with me, and well, this happened.
1 mil.
Hello?
1 mil. Yep.
Whoa!
I'm mocking. Some
Whoa!
people do
Someone
that.
gave me 1,000,000 gil. Classic Sprout moment, man. The
Classic
Final
Sprout
Fantasy community is
moment.
way too nice. What the hell? How do I
Classic
thank this
Sprout
person?
moment.
Oh, Sentel, thank you so much. When you go ocean fishing, people would use shout chat on the boat to tell you which is the optimal bait to use. In
Yeah.
dungeons, people are always friendly. Out in the game
Usually.
world, people will randomly heal you if they see you're a newbie fighting some tough mobs.
Yeah.
I truly had my mind blown by how genuinely nice every person seemed to be when playing Final Fantasy XIV. I think what it shows you is how the accepted culture of a game can genuinely transform player behavior. In most online games, we tolerate people being awful. Sometimes we enable it, sometimes we participate in it.
The thing about that, if you participated in this game, you can easily be reported and banned. That's the thing. This is why everyone is so nice, because the toxicity in this game is so strict, unless you be toxic outside of the game. Square Enix does not care if you're toxic on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, whatever. Square Enix doesn't care. But if you say frick off in the game, and people report you for it, you will get banned, which is dumb.
Yelling, hurling insults, being rude or
That's
spiteful.
just like an example,
The
but yeah.
community of 14 has a reputation of being kind, and so I think the players fulfilled this expectation. I didn't
The random
encounter any rude
chocobo spawn?
players,
Let's
so I
go.
don't know how they're dealt with, but I imagine they're pushed out by peer pressure, rejected by the majority of the community who don't want them around. Or maybe they learn to calm down and behave better when looking at the example of others.
Is he
Now
going for
it
the
helps,
treasure
this
coffee?
isn't a game where people are generally competing against each other, but still, it was
Gonna get hit by
genuinely
the thing?
heartwarming
Oh, he almost
and made
did.
the game experience so much better. Despite that, the slog to the main story was getting quite tiring. Doing mostly aimless quests for a rather generic story was really bringing me down, and I felt like I needed something else in
But I really do like these cutscenes where, like, your character is becoming like a Giga Chad and going pretty much like Super Saiyan.
lieu of crafting
It's
that
so
would
good.
satisfy me, that would give me a real draw to keep playing, and I found it in a familiar place.
We
One
love
of the
this.
fun things about 14 is that it has a lot of nods to other Final
Oh, I
Fantasy
thought he was
titles.
gonna have
I
this
consider
his
myself a
Chocobo
fan
Racing
of the
arc.
franchise, even though I've not played that many of the games. Final Fantasy X is my favorite game of all time, and the
Based.
game that got me into games. X2
Nice.
is fun, even if some later titles like 12 and 13 are mediocre. But another of the vaunted entries in the series is Final Fantasy VII, which I've
I never
enjoyed
played a
both the
Final Fantasy
original
game.
and remake versions of.
Besides
the really
14.
memorable part of those games is the Gold Saucer.
Gold
Essentially an
Saucer. We love
amusement
the Gold
park
Saucer.
where players can play a ton of minigames. Final Fantasy XIV throws homage to 7 by adding a Gold Saucer into the game, and it was a dangerous new addiction. Anyone who watches my streams knows one thing. If a game has minigames in it, I'm going to spend an obscene amount of time on those minigames. There's Gates, which are limited time parkour games, Chocobo
I love
Racing,
Gates.
and Cactpot, which is a fun number lottery game. But most
What about the
important
Jumbo Cackpot?
to me are board and card games. My ultimate weakness.
Let's go.
Witcher's Gwent, Horizon's
Real.
Machine Strike, Final Fantasy VII,
Triple
Queen's
Triad
Blood,
is that.
and
It's
now
it's fun once you
14's
understand it.
Triple Triad. Now into the world of Triple Triad. If you see someone with a card icon, it means they're currently seeking a match. Oh goddamn, I am about to get addicted, aren't I? They found my weakness, card games inside other games. To be honest, the game itself is kind of mediocre. It feels a bit too RNG,
It's alright.
especially with some of the rule variations you get, but the card collecting is always fun. So the Gold Saucer acted as my daily distraction, something to mix in to ease the pain of slogging through the main story. I also happened to stumble upon Society Quests, which are daily quests you get from NPC mini-factions, which all have unique tasks to do. Each faction actually
Yeah,
has an
the
interesting
tribe
story from
quests
what I
are really
saw,
fun.
like the group of kobolds you find, who are the most pathetic guys around.
I'm
You
big
find out
hello.
that they're literally the worst at doing their job amongst all the kobold clans, so they get treated like dirt and exploited by the stronger bully
I like the
clans.
rewards from it. I don't
These
really
poor
care about
guys
like
are
the
scared of
stories
everything,
about them.
including you. But you can start to help them climb their way up the social ladder, and with how helpless they are, you kind of feel like you have to out of pity and cuteness. It's really well done actually. And as you increase your relationship with factions, they give you access to buy some really helpful resources from them.
Yeah.
So it's a nice reward for doing something out
People
of
only
your
really
way.
care about the
Also,
mounts
there's
and
this
like
one faction that
accessory
gives you
stuff of
crafting
them.
delivery quests. So
Like
I needed
cosmetics.
no real incentive to do their dailies and
Like
create a
amounts,
budget ran
emotes,
company
etc.
to give meaning to my life once more. But my first month subscription was running out, and I wanted to at least finish A Realm Reborn before that happened, because I knew I was going to take a break to play other games like Silksong. By the
Real.
way, if you'd like to join me for gaming adventures like this, then I'd really love your company on my Twitch channel, where my handle is SVB_.
Go follow
By the time this
SVB.
video goes public, I will have just restarted my adventures in Eorzea, so if you'd like to see me continue my journey, then I'd love it if you'd join me there. Now the good thing about the main story quest, and the reason I am coming back to Final Fantasy XIV, is that it does get better towards the end.
It
As
does.
the big picture plot comes into focus, the story becomes more compelling, and the characters that you're introduced to, the Scions, become more dynamic and interesting. The fights get better too, because only when you get to around level 40 does the game introduce more compelling dynamics for how bosses attack.
Yeah,
At the beginning of the game,
what's
the
it
most
called?
complexity you
Mechanics.
get is an orange
Like
color
they
that
evolve it.
indicates a boss is about to hit you with an AoE attack. But as you get towards the end of the base game, you get
Move
some
out of
pretty
it.
complicated moves.
Based.
Attacks that do more damage in the center than at the edges, attacks that require you to clump together, attacks that require you to split up, attacks that each one of you has to tank a portion of.
I like the
It
mechanics
made
in
the
Final
fights
Fantasy.
a lot more fun, and as the scale of the story ramped up as well, we finally got to a point where it wasn't a chore to do the main quest. By the time the base game finishes, you actually leave the story at a pretty interesting point. I won't spoil it for anyone watching who hasn't played the game, but I can see how they needed to set up certain things to build on from this point. Although still, they could have done a much better job of it.
They cut off.
Ultimately, the flaws are very apparent when you play Final Fantasy XIV, but so are the joys of the game. For all the criticisms I can and have thrown its way, it's still a fundamentally really fun game, and the experience of playing it is relaxing and addictive. There's so many things to do, and I haven't even touched on things like dungeons and raids, let alone the glamours and gear and materia, and I never even got around to trying the PvP. I think the thing that really
I don't
struck me
think he's
is
gonna
that
like the
when I
PvP.
did finish my first month and
The
stopped to
PvP
play
in this
other
game is very
games,
clunky
I found myself still
compared to
thinking
WoW.
about Final Fantasy XIV, and that rarely happens to me with games. Usually I finish and I'm done.
WoW is a much
But
faster
this time,
game.
I could feel the itch to log back on and experience the new areas that I'd soon have access to actually see what interesting direction the story takes that everyone hypes up so much. And most importantly, to get back to the important job of crafting and gathering everything in sight. Not to mention how the gold saucer theme lives rent-free in my head, reminding me that there's still mini games to be played and cards to be collected. So when
I love
reflect on
collecting cards
14,
personally.
I
I
think this
always
is how
try to
I'd
get as many
summarize
cards
it.
as I can.
If you're a chill person, I think you're gonna enjoy this game. I know that I haven't experienced the end game, and I've heard things can get pretty crazy with some raids and stuff that take
Yes,
place
it
later on.
can.
But from what I've experienced,
I want him to see him try to tank Pandemonium. Praetorium. That's what it's called, not Pandemonium. I want to see him do the Endwalker
I
raids.
wouldn't say it's.
I also want him to see
It's
him
not
do
the
like
rush
the
of
near
colours and
Alliance
dopamine that
raids.
say a PvP multiplayer game
Freaking
brings.
30-minute
There's no huge
raids.
hype moments
Like,
of fragging out and team wiping, but that doesn't mean that there aren't moments of lasting joy in the game. Things that satisfy that deep gamer desire to do something that's both fun and rewarding. With how nice the community is, I feel like there's a space for everyone to play. If you like combat and raids and gear, it's there for you. If you're just a peaceful crafty boy like me, then it's there for you. And if you like story and narrative, well, the jury's out on that one. Apparently, it's there for us. I just haven't gotten to it yet. And that's actually something that has me really excited, because I feel like in many ways, I haven't even experienced the best part of Final Fantasy XIV. And so I'm excited to get back in there. And
Once you do experience the best part, you're gonna look back at this and you're gonna be like, this is so bad. Like,
look forward to what other
It
adventures
gets so much
Eorzea
better.
brings me, because so far, it's been a mostly pleasant surprise. Thank you for watching this video. As I mentioned, if you'd like to follow my Final Fantasy XIV adventures, you can join me on twitch.tv/SVB_. And you can catch me streaming every day at 4 PM UK time, which is 11 AM Eastern. I also play other games on stream too, and recent entries include Silk Song, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Blue Prince, and Expedition 33.
based.
I'm also keen on trying Hades 2 soon as well. If you'd like to support this
I would like to try Hades, but I haven't played Hades 1, and I just been, I don't know. I play other games, you know.
content directly, then I
I
would
really wanna
really
try Hades,
appreciate it
though.
if you could do so via Patreon or a one-time PayPal donation.
Yeah, 100% follow, go subscribe to SVB, go like the video, subscribe to SVB. I've been watching this guy on and off for a very, very long time, ever since like the pre-Overwatch 2 days, right? SVB is amazing. His podcast is good, and go check him out. Go.